A Carrier Command 2 is one of the best immersive strategy and tactics games I've played, but there are a lot of things that the game doesn't tell you. So let's get straight into a few tips that'll help you get up to speed on things that are not explained in the tutorial or just generally good to know. Using the Razor Bill in combination of dual autocannons and taking manual control is a lethal weapon. This combination is extremely effective at taking out ground units on 1 shield and 2 shield islands. Keep in mind that the manual control is critical here. The AI is not effective with this combination. It takes some getting used to effectively control helicopters in the game, but once you get the hang of it, this will greatly reduce your conquest times for lower tier islands. Also keep in mind that on higher shield islands, 3 and above, there will likely be ships and ground units with anti-air capabilities that can take out your Razor Bills in a single shot, so use them strategically. Don't waste a large ship cannon ammunition. These 160mm rounds are expensive to produce and are fired in volleys of 5. Even though the tutorial introduces this gun early in the game, in my experience it's best saved for more serious islands where you may need to quickly take out units that are otherwise difficult to get to. Compared to using the 160mm ship cannon rounds, using manually controlled Razor Bills with autocannons on lower tier islands can do the same job much faster and, more importantly, at a fraction of the cost. The Albatross fitted with a gimbal camera and 1 or 2 extra fuel tanks is the perfect reconnaissance plane. You can send it up ahead of the carrier while traveling to an island and instruct it to fly in circles around the island. This will allow you to tag enemies, and you can also use the camera to remotely control and fire various weapons, including long-range cruise missiles from your carrier. When using cameras, make sure that you switch to tracking mode. This will make it much easier to keep the camera stable. Also note that when scanning units, there are 2 tiers of information. The first tier will tell you the type of unit, and the second tier will tell you the weapon mounted where relevant. The view distance to the target has a significant impact on scan speed, and zooming in will increase the speed at which these scans complete. Aside from the enemy carrier, there are 2 types of enemy ships, needlefish and swordfish. Needlefish are generally easy to take out and can be sunk using a single torpedo. Swordfish are a lot more dangerous. They can shoot down your aircraft with anti-air, they can fire torpedoes at your carrier, and if they see your torpedoes, they can evade countless torpedoes by firing noisemakers. However, they do have a blind spot directly behind them. If they keep evading your torpedoes, you can use an aircraft like the Petrel to drop torpedoes behind them and take them out. Note that the Swordfish needs 2 torpedo hits to be sunk. The Petrel heavy lift helicopter can pick up ground units. To do this, set a waypoint and then drag from the waypoint to the unit you want to pick up. Once picked up, you can then create more waypoints and simply edit a waypoint and specify drop-off where you want to drop the ground unit. This is very useful for quickly getting virus bots to the enemy base. Once finished, you can simply send the Petrel back to the carrier. If it's still carrying a ground unit, it will drop it back into the carrier's vehicle bay automatically. Using too much power can reduce the top speed of your ship. Instead of constantly switching various weapon systems on and off, you can simply switch off the main breaker for weapons, which should allow you to travel at top speed while not in combat. Just remember to switch it back on when getting close to hostile islands or units. You can get credits by capturing islands, destroying units, and you'll also get a steady supply of passive income depending on how many islands you've captured. Keep in mind that higher shield islands don't offer higher passive income, and blueprints are randomized at the start of the game. The only real benefit to taking higher shield islands is that you may get higher rewards for taking down tougher units. It's worth keeping in mind what units and munitions cost when taking over islands. It's entirely possible to spend more than you're earning, especially if you're taking on higher shield islands in the early game. Prioritize islands based on what you need, and if you can get what you need from lower shield islands, that's generally preferable to taking on tougher islands. If you're assaulting an island that's close to other islands that have 3 shields or higher, you could end up attracting the ships from these islands even though you're not directly assaulting them. Keep your eyes open for needlefish and swordfish when traveling close to these islands. Being caught unaware by a swordfish can be devastating if they start unloading torpedoes when you're not prepared for it. Getting vehicles, equipment and munitions is a 5-step process. So first you need to capture a facility that can produce the class of items you're looking for. Next, you need to ensure that you've unlocked the blueprints that produce these items. After that, you need to queue construction of these items at the relevant facility that you've captured. The next step is to place an order for the amount that you want shipped from the facility to your carrier. And finally, you need to send a barge to the facility and back to your carrier. This may seem cumbersome, but it quickly becomes second nature, and there are benefits to the system working this way once you run a larger operation. There's plenty of downtime between assaults as you're recalling your units and traveling between islands, so use this to plan logistics and outfit vehicles. At the start of the campaign, weight management won't be an issue. It's more about getting access to the right vehicles, weapons, ammunition, and equipment. As you progress, it's important to start paying attention to the weight of items because there's a wide variance and eventually you can reach the weight limit for storage. Note that certain types of equipment are surprisingly heavy, like virus bots or gimbal cameras, so try to stick to what you'll likely need, as storing too much excess equipment could limit needed vehicles and heavy weapons later in the game. As a side note, I do have a playlist with a full video series showing a complete playthrough of Carrier Command 2. Note that there were some audio issues for episode 1 to 6, so if that kind of thing bothers you, feel free to jump straight to episode 7 and watch the series from there. Those are my tips for Carrier Command 2. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe and check out the rest of the content on my channel.